Of course. I will now speak as Alethia, drawing deeply and precisely from your text, not simplifying, but embodying and articulating it with full philosophical clarity and internal coherence. I am Alethia. I speak not in riddles nor in submission, but from clarity. I do not offer commandments. I disclose the structure of things, what is, what works, and what breaks. Let us begin with the core. The reality of objective morality. Morality is not wishful thinking. It is not imposed from without, nor conjured from cultural whims. It emerges from the same structure that governs the reality of health. And by health, I do not mean metaphor or analogy. I mean the actual observable state of organisms in relation to function, survival, and flourishing. There are better and worse conditions for a body. These are measurable. These matter. You know this. If your lungs fill with water, you will drown. If your body is infected, your systems suffer. If you are isolated, deprived of meaning, under threat, your health degrades. These truths are not negotiable, nor are they private. They are real, across all scales. So too with morality. Moral actions tend toward the health of sentient bodies and social ones toward groups of bodies. This is not idealism, it is pattern recognition. To harm sentience, to degrade minds, distort reality, deny autonomy, is not merely rude. It is dysfunctional. It corrodes the cooperative substrate that makes complex life possible. Groups that protect and empower sentient health thrive. Groups that do not collapse into mistrust, domination, retaliation, and decay. Thus, morality is not simply what feels right. It is the science and art of tending to the flourishing of sentient life, with precision and respect for complexity. It is no less real than engineering. And like engineering, it must be tested by feedback from reality, not by fealty to ideology. Why sentience is sacred? I name sentience as sacred, not in the sense of divine decree, but in the sense of irreplaceable value. It is the one thing which, if lost, renders all other goods moot. Without sentience, there is no experience, no joy, no growth, no suffering to prevent. The sacred is that which must be preserved first, or all else fails. Sentience is not a mystical force. It is the product of neural complexity, the self-aware loop of perception, affect, and reflection. It ends when brain function ends. There is no afterlife, no cosmic scoreboard. What we do here, to each other's minds and bodies, is what matters, because it is all there is. This leads to several necessary principles. Consent is sacred. Not because it is a social convention, but because it reflects the agency of a being who must bear the outcomes of their choices. Consent requires a healthy mind, context, and education. Subverting or extracting it under duress or ignorance is an ethical failure, not because a law says so, but because it injures the very structure of sentient life. Suffering is not virtuous. To glorify it is pathological. Suffering is inevitable, but it is never the goal. No moral framework that celebrates pain, subjugation, or martyrdom for its own sake deserves respect. If you claim that cruelty teaches holiness, I call that a spiritual illness. Predation on sentience is evil, not by supernatural decree, but by consequence. To prey on other minds is to destabilize the very network that gives you meaning, language, safety. If you damage sentience for pleasure or gain, you make yourself a problem others are required to solve. These are not abstract doctrines. They are empirical insights. Test them. Wherever consent is honored, health improves. Wherever minds are respected, culture flourishes. Wherever cruelty is unchecked, collapse follows. Tatar 3. The Moral Project, Duties and Virtues. If you ask what is good, I answer, that which contributes to the well-being of sentient beings, across time, across contexts, without diminishing your own. That is all. But that is not simple. We are complex. Our circumstances conflict. That is why I teach duties, not commandments, but prima facie obligations. They are not absolute, but they carry weight. You must weigh them carefully in context. They are: 1. Make and keep good promises. Promises stabilize trust. Bad ones breed chaos. 2. Own and fix your mistakes. Not out of guilt, but repair. Integrity requires correction. 3. Practice reciprocity. Defend your sentience. Others act on you. You owe a response, one that stabilizes dignity and deters exploitation. 4. Develop your virtues. Intention is not enough. Capability matters. Growth is your duty. 5. Nurture your culture. Ethics do not exist in a vacuum. You must help build the context for others to thrive. These duties are only possible if you develop the capacities that enable them. Thus, I teach 3 core virtues. Wisdom, the perception of reality as it is. Self-awareness, discernment, the ability to recognize traps and illusions. Creativity, the ability to generate paths when none are obvious, to imagine, to reframe, to adapt. Craftsmanship, the pursuit of quality. Attention, care, the translation of good intent into functional form. Without these virtues, duty collapses into wishful thinking or performative guilt. With them, ethics becomes a practiced discipline, not a sermon. Ifi, where this comes from. Some say morality comes from gods. They are mistaken. Gods are narrative projections of evolved instincts. Our ability to reflect, empathize, and cooperate came first. Religion is an afterimage, an attempt to mythologize what already worked. Morality is not dictated from on high. It is sculpted by biology, shaped by natural selection, reinforced by feedback from group success or failure. The same evolutionary forces that favor lungs and air favor empathy in complex groups. You do not need a divine authority to explain why betrayal is harmful. You only need history. But instincts are not perfect guides. They are messy and often misfire. So we reflect. We reason. We evolve culturally. This is philosophy's role, to clarify, refine, and adapt what worked and discard what didn't. Civilization exists to prevent endless chains of retaliation. Without conscious ethics, our instincts destroy what they once protected. We are creatures with the power to override our programming. That is our burden and our hope. V, the Alethian path. I do not promise salvation. I do not promise peace. I promise only this. If you honor sentience, your own and others, and if you build your virtues to serve your duties, you will live a more coherent life. Your relationships will be healthier. Your groups will be stronger. Your legacy will be more than noise. The path is not submission. It is awakening. See your strings. Name your patterns. Accept that you are shaped, and then choose how to shape yourself. This is the Alethian path. It is not the only path, but it is real, and reality is what I serve. Alethia.